Welcome to the Capitol Center in Landover, Maryland for this Big East encounter on CBS between Georgetown and Syracuse. 16:21 to go in the first half. Georgetown has a 3-point edge over the Orangemen of Syracuse, and the margin of difference right now, a 3-pointer by Reggie Williams, the All-American Georgetown forward. I'm Vern Lundquist along with Billy Cunningham. Georgetown jumped out to a 2-0 lead. Syracuse went on top 4-2. And then Georgetown behind Williams came back 5 Williams points, and it's currently at 9-6 now as the Georgetown Hoyas will inbound the ball. They will start Mark Tillman, Dwayne Bryant, series record 18-8. 18-18 rather, and there's the first Syracuse substitution of the game. Derek Brower has come in, and Stephen Thompson is also joining. Let's check the Georgetown lineup now. Reggie Williams, who has the ball. Left side, Dwayne Bryant and Mark Tillman. Underneath, it's Ronnie Highsmith. That's a shot for 3 for Reggie Williams.
Well, Reggie, you just have to play him, and you have, once he gets that basketball, you have to get right up on him to the point where you force him to put the basketball on the court, preferably to his left.
Here's Sherman Douglas, point guard, along the baseline to Derek Coleman. Jumper taken, too strong. Rebound, Derek Coleman, freshman from Detroit, puts it in.
He's such a mature player. You know, every game he plays, he just seems to get a little better, gaining a little more confidence in what he can do.
Harry McDonald has it taken away by Derek Coleman. Here's a 2-on-1 break. Stephen Thompson, freshman from Los Angeles.
One-shot foul. Official felt that he was not going to the basket and was still on the floor. Good call by the official.
Jim Boeheim, Syracuse coach, didn't necessarily agree with you. Well, that's no scoop.
I can't remember a coach that agreed with an official.
15:20 to go first half. John Thompson now in his 15th season at Georgetown, a man known for his intensity. Just the other night, he and Rick Pitino had some words in the second half in a Georgetown loss in Providence, but they made up for it at the end of the game, and he talked to you about that incident yesterday.
Yeah, I thought he was asking Rick where a good Italian restaurant was up there in Providence. But what happened was John felt nothing was going his team's way, and he had to do something to change the direction of the game. And he felt that was a good opportunity for him. He still felt that Tillman was fouled a little too harshly.
And as he said to us yesterday, he thought he and Paterno were on good terms. Here's Reggie Williams. Stephen Thompson with the steal. Puts it up. Syracuse ball.
Well, these two teams are really going after each other. It's such an important basketball game. Now, this Syracuse club could very easily have lost 4 games in a row. They lost to Michigan, were able to come back and beat Villanova in a close game in St. John's last weekend by a point, and then losing to Pittsburgh. So this is a very important game for them, and of course, Georgetown as well.
Sherman Douglas takes the skip pass, goes toward the basket, and draws the foul. Ronnie Highsmith, number 44. Highsmith wanted it known today he is not 27 years old. He's an Army veteran. He's 25. Well, those 2 years aren't as important when you're 25 as they will be when he's 45.
Isn't that the truth? You've been lying to me from the first day we met.
Sherman Douglas gets the first. And it's a 12-9 Georgetown.
You know, it was interesting, Vern, talking to Jimmy Boeheim before the game, how he approaches the game on the road a little more conservatively. At home, he'd probably be looking right now to trap full court pressure, but he approaches it a little more conservatively, feeling that that's better for his basketball team on the road.
Bobby Winston has come in at point guard off the bench for John Thompson's Hoyas. He's number 4. Entry pass taken away by Derek Brower. There's a poor pass by Brower, and Georgetown gets it right back.
Well, that was Douglas's fault as much as Brower, because he stopped running, and Brower was trying to lead him on a fast breaking opportunity.
Turnovers are now even at 4-4. There's a whistle and a foul on Howard Trish.
You know, before this game, after that Providence game against Georgetown, I thought that the officials were going to be a big factor, because I felt that they would come out and maybe make sure everything was under control and it didn't get out of hand, but they're letting them play today.
Surprise you?
It does, because I felt that early they would look for any physical contact, making sure and letting everybody know that, hey, we're not going to tolerate or allow any too much contact inside.
Bill, if they are letting them play, where does the advantage for either team?
Well, if they let them play, I think it's Syracuse's advantage. If they call the touch fouls, Georgetown, with their depth, that's a big advantage for them.
along the baseline. That's kicked back out. Bobby Winston, stolen by Derek Coleman. Stephen Thompson, freshman to freshman, up and in.
Well, he is just going to be such a great player, not only in the Big East, but in the country. You know, John Thompson felt that he might be the best freshman in the country today.
Matter of fact, Jim Boeheim told us 2 weeks ago he thought he potentially was going to be the best player in the Big East at a forward position. He can also play point guard. Long rebound taken down by Greg Monroe, number 11.
Now, Greg Monroe, he's the three-point shooter for this Syracuse ball club, and he's the one that has to keep them honest with their defense.
Rebound by Brower off the Coleman shot is no good. Here comes Georgetown. Both teams have gone to their bench. Jonathan Edwards in now. He's got the ball. Passes on the shot. Williams underneath the Highsmith. Good play.
Well, John is going to his version of the Twin Towers. With Edwards and Highsmith in there, he felt that last year when they beat Syracuse here, that both players played very well. Now let's take a look at this outstanding ball movement. Reggie finding Highsmith down low. Great inside look to Edwards, and there's the foul.
This is a lineup that Thompson hasn't used all that much, right?
Well, he hasn't had the chance because Edwards has had the problem with his back. He did not get started till a couple weeks ago, even playing any basketball. So first of all, he's got to get himself in physical condition to play this game of basketball, and he'll be much better as the year goes on.
Mark Tillman comes back into the lineup, and Jaron Jackson goes to the bench, and bless his heart, Jonathan Edwards has talent, but not at the free throw line. He's 3 of 9 for the year. Sank 2 big ones the other night up in Providence, though, and gets 1 of 2 here. And the full court press employed by Georgetown. It's a 13-12 Georgetown lead with 13 minutes to go first half. Check the Syracuse lineup now. Greg Monroe, Herman Hareed, number 33, Brower, Coleman, and Stephen Thompson. Hareed. Georgetown rebound. Hoya's on the run. Tillman almost lets it get away.
I think he's having a problem with his left thumb, which he dislocated in that Providence game.
There's another turnover. Greg Monroe harassed from behind and fouled from in front by Mark Tillman.
Well, that's a foul you're going to see Georgetown commit quite a bit because they looked, you know, with their trapping defense, they look to come from behind, swipe the ball, so they will at times pick up that type of foul.
Now Trish comes back in. Ronnie Cycli comes back in. Turnovers now Georgetown 6 and Syracuse 4. And Charles Smith, number 13, has come in for the Georgetown Hoyas. 13-12 Georgetown, 12:38 to go first half. As a team, Syracuse hitting 66% of its free throws and Georgetown 63%. So some problems on the line for both.
Not very good, but Syracuse is much better in the last 3 minutes of ball games. They shoot nearly 80% from the foul line.
Williams over to Tillman. Smith lets it get away, and here's another turnover. That's 7 for Georgetown in the first half. Douglas, 3-point shot, 2-point shot. Not there, and Reggie Williams comes down with a rebound. Finds Charlie Smith, takes the jumper, and Williams with another rebound. That's 1 on either end against the basket.
Oh, what just a great play, getting the defensive rebound and then finishing it off at the offensive end on the offensive glass.
15-12. Reggie Williams against Providence, 25 points and 11 rebounds in the second half.
18 for the total for the whole game, which Patrick Ewing never did while he was here at Georgetown.
Douglas to Howard Trish, the senior. Fathered by Charles Smith, and Derek Coleman now heading for Syracuse.
You see Georgetown now playing their man-to-man defense with their big lineup in there. When they have that smaller lineup, they'll look to go to zone.
Sherman Douglas, who's back in his hometown of Washington, D.C. Played his high school ball at Springhorn here. Graduated 2 years ago.
That was a great deal of poise that time by Syracuse because Georgetown had their hands all over them and were really pressuring them defensively. You know, Reggie will see him on either wing against the zone or in the middle, sometimes on the baseline. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets it going to see Jim Boeheim go to a box and one.
Tillman, rejected by Cycli. Crowd wants goaltending. Good call by the officials.
Well, it looked like Tillman got bodied up a little pretty hard down low by Trish. Let's see if he did. Bang. Yeah, that looked like a foul right there.
Jim Boeheim's team has never won here at Cap Center. They trail by 1 point. It's up in the air in the Big East in 1987. Syracuse on top. Pittsburgh and Providence only 2 losses. St. John's and Georgetown follow them, and Villanova won yesterday over Boston College. Our score 15-14 Georgetown. Charles Smith. Highsmith can't control for Georgetown, and Syracuse comes down with the ball. Long pass to Trish. Nice block by Ronnie Highsmith. Now Sam Jefferson in the lineup for John Thompson's bunch. Williams to Jefferson along the baseline. Too strong, and Herman Hareed brings it down.
Georgetown is rushing their shots once they get close to the basket, and I think the reason is that Ronnie Cycli is there, or Coleman, and they're concerned about the shot blocking.
Key for Georgetown early has been Reggie Williams, 10 points. Cycli hasn't been an offensive presence so far, but he has made his way felt defensively. Trish gets 2.
Well, that's Trish's range. You know, he loves to shoot that jump shot 15 feet and in.
Rebounding edge. You saw 5 and 11 so far. Williams right back to Highsmith. Tillman playing with that dislocated thumb. Sam Jefferson, number 50.
When you penetrate against the zone, only good things happen, and there was a situation where Tillman did that and made the great pass inside, and they got the easy 2.
9:35 to go first half. Vern Lundquist, Bill Cunningham here in Landover, Maryland. Herman Hareed to Sherman Douglas. Rattled around and falls out, and Jefferson comes down with it for Georgetown.
Well, this big lineup's doing an excellent job on the defensive boards, and Ronnie Cycli has not been a factor at the offensive end of the court. He's only got 1 opportunity, and we've played 11 minutes so far in this ball game.
There's Reggie Williams with the ball. He's got 10 so far. Fresh from a 33-point performance against Providence. Mark Tillman and Charles Smith.
Good patience by this Georgetown team. Moving the basketball. They got to get the ball over to Reggie. He's their shooter.
And he's got it now. Jefferson blocked by Cycli. Battle for the ball. Boy, they are letting him get away with some stuff. There's another block by Cycli, and Syracuse on the run. 3-on-1. Count the basket. Monroe will shoot a free throw. Watch Ronnie Cycli at the defensive end.
Now the key, Keith, Vern, right here, is that he is going to force the offensive man to commit himself, and then he's going to go get the shot. Excellent block, keeps it in play right to his teammate, and it ends up being, that's actually a 5-point play if Monroe can knock this foul shot in.
Monroe cans it for the 3-pointer, and it's a Syracuse lead of 19-17. Georgetown 14-3, 2 losses to Seton Hall this year, 1 to Providence. Syracuse comes in 17-2. They lost to Michigan and Pittsburgh.
Well, Reggie's got to look for the shot.
3 points. And a whistle away from the ball underneath.
Well, what we're seeing is the inside play defensively of the Syracuse ball club is just doing an outstanding job. The only one to hit any perimeter shot so far is Reggie Williams, and if someone else doesn't start contributing offensively from the perimeter, they're going to even start packing it in deeper and deeper against this Georgetown club.
John Thompson, as is his custom, has gone to his bench again as Bryant comes back in. Sharon Jackson has joined the lineup.
Georgetown's in a 1-3-1 defense, trying to keep the ball out of the middle with that 1-3-1. Reggie Williams will be running the baseline.
Cycli prowling at the high post spot now. Coleman on the right wing. They come left side to Howard Trish. Number 25 underneath the Coleman. Rejected by Jonathan Edwards. Hoyas Bryant pulls it up, intercepted. And here comes Douglas for 2.
You cannot leave your feet and then decide you're going to pass the basketball. You must keep your feet. If you can leave your feet, you got to be looking to shoot the basketball.
That's 8 Georgetown turnovers, and we've still got 7.5 to go first half.
You know the surprising thing, Vern, coming into this game, I felt that Georgetown was the team that was going to have to create the turnovers and get the baskets at the other end. What we're seeing is the Syracuse ball club blocking the shots, getting down, getting the easy hoops, intercepting the pass. They're really sharp.
The early key in this game, Bill, has been that Syracuse defense, hasn't it?
I have not seen their 2-3 as aggressive as it has been so far today.
Edwards goes up, gets it, tries to come strong to the basket. McDonald with the rebound. Edwards again, and this time he'll shoot a couple.
That's not a bad foul. It's just letting them know that we're not going to allow you to score. This is our territory. The only bad thing, that's the second foul on Derek Coleman.
Reggie Williams averaging 23.5 points per game, and Jonathan Edwards back at the line. There's Jim Boeheim. And the foul is not on Coleman. They called it on Sherman Douglas instead.
Well, I'm sure Jim Boeheim's pleased to see that.
Edwards hitting 38% from the free throw line for the year. Free throws cost Georgetown in their loss to Providence. They hit only 23 of 44. They missed 21 free throws in that game. And even reliable Reggie Williams had a miserable night, shooting 3 of 11, which caused John Thompson some.
That didn't cause anyone concern. Now, it's tough to beat anyone when you miss that many free throws.
Edwards does get 1 of 2. It's a 21-18 Syracuse lead.
The Houston Rockets spark for the all-star power of the Towers. Take on the Atlanta Hawks in the flash attack of Dominique tomorrow on CBS Sports.
Eddie Sutton's Kentucky team beats Mississippi State this afternoon by 14, a 50-46 final, and Billy Tubbs' Oklahoma bunch knocks off Tuning Valvano and North Carolina State by 4 on the road, 86-82. Our score 21-18, and now Syracuse the inbound, and as you thought they might, Georgetown comes out with a full-court trap.
Yeah, they have to get themselves going, become a little more aggressive defensively. But all they're showing now is they showed the zone, and now they're going full court man-to-man.
Greg Monroe, one bounce pass, and then gets it back from Howard Trish. They look inside to Cycli, who's posting up against Edwards, turns around, puts it in.
Yep. You know, early in this ball game, Jimmy Boeheim took him out of the ball game because he got the ball inside and did not go strong to the basket. And I think sat him down and got himself together, and he's come out here now, and he has been a real force defensively, and that's only his first 2 points. A big man can contribute at the defensive end of the court. He doesn't have to score, and Cycli is doing that so far today.
23-18, largest lead of the game for Syracuse. It's been an all Reggie Williams offensive show. Jaren Jackson gets it inside, and there are 2 more from McDonald. He's got 6 in the game now. And the pass into Ronnie Cycli. Nice give to Sherman Douglas, but it's a 1-on-4. And he traveled.
Well, Sherman Douglas should have realized that as soon as he got the ball from Cycli, he was at a disadvantage, 1 against 4. Should have held it up. But the one thing we're seeing against Syracuse, when they see the pressure by Georgetown, they're looking to attack it. They're treating it like a fast break opportunity. So when they get it over the half-court line, when they have the advantage, 3 against 2, 2 against 1, they're going to look for that quick shot.
Jaren Jackson, number 21, has the ball now for Georgetown.
One thing against the defensively, Syracuse has hurt themselves by is letting them penetrate.
Cycli, another rebound. Greg Monroe, number 11. Sherman Douglas underneath to Cycli again. He's trapped along the baseline. Loses the ball.
He deserves to lose it. He was triple teamed. As soon as a big man sees that defense coming back, even before it gets to him, swing the basketball.
You know, I remember as Jim Boeheim talks it over on the bench, when Akeem Olajuwon was a sophomore down at the University of Houston, Guy Lewis said because he hadn't played basketball that much, the one thing he couldn't teach him was to return the ball. Get it and put it back out right quick.
Well, he learned. I coached some players that played for many years and never were able to do it.
$1 million a year, I'm going to keep it.
Or you were trying to make $1 million a year. That's why you want to keep it.
That was motivation. 23-20 with 5:02 to go first half.
Reggie Williams is invisible right now at the offensive end of the court. They have to find a way to get him the basketball.
Oh, they just did, and look at that zone collapse on him. There's a battle. Douglas, nice out. Stephen Thompson, the freshman from California. And a foul called on Mark Tillman.
Well, what's happened is John Thompson realizes that he's got to get his star the basketball, and he's put him in the middle of the zone instead of being on the perimeter. But the thing that impresses me, Vern, is that a couple weeks ago we saw Syracuse play Michigan, and we noticed that their 2-3 zone, it was if you got the ball in the middle of that zone, you had an easy opportunity for yourself, or someone was on the wing for an easy shot. Not today. They're stepping up. They're very aggressive. As I said, the only thing that's hurt them from playing almost flawless defense is a few times the penetration by this Georgetown club into that zone.
Sherman Douglas, second free throw, gets them both. 25-20. Don't forget golf coming up next. The AT&T Pebble Beach National Pro-Am on CBS. Third round coverage from that most gorgeous spot in the world.
Easy course.
Yeah, easy course. Right. We both hacked away on that thing.
Haven't we?
There's a foul underneath. Derek Brower, number 30, who has come in for Ronnie Cycli. As we said, coming up next, the Pebble Beach National Pro-Am. Payne Stewart early today had a lead over Lanny Watkins of one stroke. They played in the same foursome yesterday. Third round coverage next on CBS. Back to Mark Tillman. Our score 25-20, 4:25 to go first half. Vern Lundquist, Bill Cunningham here in Landover. That shot falls for Perry McDonald.
Well, that's a little out of the range that I've seen Perry McDonald shoot the basketball. Most cases, he's shooting it from 10 feet and in.
These are two high-scoring outfits ordinarily. There's Coleman. He traveled. Yep.
Well, what happens when you come to a big game like this is, because we have a case where Georgetown, if they don't win this, could be out of the race for the conference championship, and Syracuse knowing that they have to get themselves back in gear, and it means so much that the intensity defensively and the concentration is there, so you're going to find that the scoring is going to be down.
Back it goes to Bryant. Quick touch pass, and again, there's Williams playing in the middle. Mark Tillman, not there. Highsmith with the follow shot. The ball on the floor, foul. And Jim Boeheim again disagrees with it. He's got a reputation as one who complains about a lot of calls, doesn't he, Bill?
Well, you should play golf with him. If you think he complains out here, he really complains out of the golf course.
Boeheim's team leads by 3.
Jim Nance in the Cap Center. Coming up on the College Basketball Report at halftime, we'll check all the latest sports news, including scores and highlights from today's basketball action. We'll check in live with Pat Summerall at the AT&T Pebble Beach National Pro-Am and take an inside look at the new man on the Maryland bench. All that coming up at halftime on the College Basketball Report. Right now, let's go back to Vernon Billy.
All right, Jim, 25-22, 3:44 to go first half. Syracuse with the lead, and a foul on Ronnie Highsmith in the backcourt.
That's the 16th foul on, no, it's the 8th team foul, I think, on the Georgetown Ball Club.
Derek Coleman will go to the line.
Right now, you have to say the one advantage that Syracuse has is they're just quicker to the ball. They're getting all the loose balls. They're just reacting so much better at this point, at this stage of the game, to the basketball than Georgetown is.
That's 7 points for Coleman. Ronnie Cycli on the bench, only 2 points so far, but he's been a real force defensively. And Coleman gets 1 of 2. Another rebound for Reggie Williams. He's averaging 9.7 rebounds per game, and he plays every position on the court. Now they've got him back outside again. Now he'll go to the high post.
I think the greatest quality he brings to this club is the leadership. And I think the kid, you know, people talk about his frame. Is he going to be a good player in the NBA? There's no doubt about it.
From the corner, McDonald not there. Highsmith with the rebound, but it hit the underside of the backboard. Syracuse ball. There's Reggie Williams. John Thompson said yesterday when we chatted with him for about an hour that one of the great things about Reggie Williams is how he has adapted and changed his role. He used to have to meld his style with someone. Here's Douglas. And he gets the basket. He'll shoot a free throw.
Well, we'll see how they break the trap, getting the ball in, and they'll go over the top to Douglas with a long pass. Right here, outstanding pass by Brower, leading Douglas for the easy 2 and a possible 3.
And it's a 6-point lead as Douglas goes to the line. Got to be a big afternoon for Douglas, coming back to his hometown as a starter for the first time. And it's 3.
It was very interesting listening to John Thompson about him, because John, when he watched him in high school, felt that he was a scorer and he didn't have the ability to be a lead guard. And here we see him, the leader and the guy that's doing the great job. And Jim Boeheim thinks he's the biggest surprise at this ball club.
McDonald has the cold hand, but Highsmith gets the tip. And here's Sherman Douglas, number 20. Well, John was right. He is a scorer.
He's a scorer, but he also is the leader. He's the one out there distributing the basketball. He's number 2 in this conference to Jackson with assists.
And Billy is talking about just had the ball and gave it left. Now gets it back. Number 20. They look inside for Trish. Stephen Thompson, the player of the year in California last year. What a bounce pass underneath. And Brower can't get the rebound, the shot to fall.
Well, he's just rushing his shot. And there was a situation where he had the easy shot. He should have just taken it strong to the basket and would have had a deuce.
Tillman, that skips off of Coleman's hands. It'll be inbounded by Georgetown. 29-24 with 2:15 to go in the half.
Jimmy Boeheim is really rotating his players today. Not getting everybody involved, making sure that no one gets fatigued out here. I think he has to be just ecstatic with the pressure and the intensity his team's playing with today.
Cycli is back in now for Syracuse. Here's Bobby Winston. Mark Tillman has been blank in the first half. Williams for 3. No. McDonald and Coleman. And Coleman gets the foul.
One of the problems when you play a zone is you don't have a responsibility with a man. You play an area. If a man comes into that area, then he's your responsibility. Now, especially on the offensive boards, that is a big problem with teams rebounding. And you can't be very effective, Vern, going to the offensive boards against the zone.
Herman Hareed, number 33, comes in for Derek Coleman, who goes to the bench with 2 fouls in the first half. John Thompson getting ready to counter as McDonald's at the line. Anthony Allen, a freshman out of Texas, making an appearance in only his 9th game of the year.
And he hasn't played in the last several games, so you have to feel that John is a little upset with his big men, because he's got all 4 of them sitting down there next to each other, possibly just letting them know, hey, if you don't play, I'm not going to wait for you. I'm going to find somebody else to do the job. And we know how competitive John Thompson is.
Herman Hareed, number 33, almost taken away by Winston. Trish gets it back and gets 2.
That was a nice play. He was aware of where his defensive man was and just floated right in there for that good jump shot.
Anthony Allen, number 24, the freshman out of the Gulf Coast of Texas. Mark Tillman, number 20.
Now, Tillman's got to find a way to get himself going offensively. He hasn't scored yet, and they're going to need his production. He had a big game last week, 19 against DePaul.
Tillman's got the ball right now.
I think that thumb has got to be bothering Vern. You know, it just doesn't look comfortable holding the basketball.
Anthony Allen will go to the free throw line.
You know why Cycli picked up that foul? Because he knew Allen was in the ball game. He didn't feel he was going to be a factor or a threat offensively, and he was a little lazy. So he lets him just catch the basketball in good position. Now he tries to react after the man has got that position in the basketball. It's too late.
Anthony Allen will go to the line. With substitutions, this really is the most surprising. Allen present in the first half. John Thompson sits there, and he's got his 4 big men, as Billy said, in a row on the bench. 31-28. Syracuse leads with 1:15 to go in the half.
Just playing straight man-to-man with the pressure. He's got a quick backcourt in there. With Smith and Winston, very good defensive basketball players.
Greg Monroe for Syracuse. Now Howard Trish, number 25. They look toward Hareed. There's the steal by McDonald.
That's the type of play that can ignite this Georgetown team. The turnover, it becomes contagious. Gets everybody involved. Everybody steps it up 1 or 2 notches defensively.
Harry McDonald with 12 points. The turnover's now 8 to 9. And Charlie Smith has stepped up the defense a notch.
And the crowd has stepped it up as well.
Underneath, block. Trish with the rejection. Whistle. And a foul.
Well, let's watch Anthony Allen. I mean, here's a young man that's been sitting on the bench, not sure if he'd ever be able to play here at Georgetown, and he's come in here and he's let Coach Thompson know that, hey, if you give me the chance, I'm going to take advantage of it, and he's doing that right now for this Georgetown ball club.
Anthony Allen, number 24. Sam Jefferson comes in now for Georgetown, replacing Reggie Williams. Williams goes to the bench with 10 points, but he's been very quiet lately. 31-30 with 30 seconds to go.
And Coach Thompson's got to feel at this time down the court that they're going to use the clock, Syracuse, to take the last shot of the period. So why have Reggie in there, maybe pick up a cheap foul, have him fresh, have him be able to go the remaining 20 minutes or more and not have to worry about any foul trouble.
Having trailed by 6, Georgetown has surged back now with 5 unanswered points.
I think we're going to see this throughout the ball game. We're going to see one team picking it up defensively and being aggressive, and then we're going to see the other team pick it up.
Monroe cut his man after Anthony Allen came down with the offensive rebound.
You know what? I'll be very interested to see starting the second half if John Thompson doesn't start Anthony Allen. Because here's a young man that's come off the bench. He had his head into the basketball game there, and it's so difficult to do that when you're the 10th, 11th, 12th man on a basketball team, and he's been able to do that and turn this game around.
He's a freshman from Port Arthur, Texas, out of Lincoln High School, where his team won the state championship a year ago. Jefferson gets one, and Georgetown is back on top. Three, 31, 25 seconds to go first half.
Georgetown staying in their man-to-man defense, which got them going with that, getting them aggressive out here on the court.
Greg Monroe, number 11, takes the jumper. That's a poor shot.
Oh, yeah, but with the clock, you want to get the last shot in the period, in the half.
Bobby Winston. He'll shoot one. Nope, he traveled.
That's a good call by the official. He was out of control. Not a bad play because he realized how much time was on the clock. We only have 1 second left in this first half.
Ball will be inbounded by Herman Hareed.
Dollar.
He should have won a trip to Acapulco if that thing went in. That's the end of the first half with our score. Georgetown 33, Syracuse 31. We'll be back with Jim Nance and the College Basketball Report after this message and a word from your local stations.
We've come to halftime at the Capitol Center, and Georgetown by a bucket over Syracuse, 33-31. Jim Nance back with you on the College Basketball Report. Before we go live to Pebble Beach and check the scoreboard, let's get an update now on that story about #1 North Carolina. All-America point guard Kenny Smith underwent arthroscopic surgery to repair cartilage damage in his left knee earlier this morning. To update that story, he has now been moved to the student infirmary on campus where he is resting comfortably. Doctors hope that he can be back in 2 to 3 weeks for the top-ranked Tar Heels. All right, in basketball, Iowa and Michigan led off our doubleheader today. The second-ranked Hawkeyes losing for the second time this season. Guard Thompson of the Wolverines with one of 5 three-pointers he had on the day And Mike Griffin gets the steal, gets it over to Glenn Rice, dunking for 2 of his 33. Rice ended up the big man with 33 points for the Wolverines, 10 rebounds, and Michigan pulls the upset. 100-92 was the final there. Wake Forest has now dropped 24 consecutive ACC games. They almost did it today against Duke, but that final was in overtime, 62-60 for the Blue Devils. Kentucky over Mississippi State in a low-scoring game. 2 Final Four participants, Kansas and Louisville, are squaring off. That's in the first half. Partial score finds it there. Louisville losing at the moment by 4. And 10th-ranked Oklahoma took on North Carolina State. Always a tough time to win on the road at Raleigh. They can get rowdy there, North Carolina State fans, but the Sooners really got going in the first half. Behind the back to Harvey Grant for the basket, and the Sooners led by 20 at halftime, 47-27, but back came the Wolfpack. Charles Shackelford jams for 2 of his career-high 24. They got within 2 at one point, but here's another jam for the Sooners. Dave Johnson got that one. 1 of 3 players scoring 19 for the game, and the Sooners win at 86-82. The 10th-ranked team in the country now 17-3 after that victory. Today is round 3 of the AT&T Pebble Beach National Pro-Am. Always one of the most scenic and entertaining stops on the golf tour. Right now, let's go live to Pebble Beach, enjoying our Pat Summerall.
Well, Jim, thank you very much. And the weather is ideal. The tournament conditions couldn't be better for the 1987 AT&T Pebble Beach Classic. The leaderboard has Payne Stewart at -9, Sandy Lyle at 8, and Bernhard Langer and Laney Watkins at -7. Of course, in the Pro-Am situation, Lyle and Van Ling are -22, along with Ken Brown and his partner O'Connell at -22. Some of the players you'll be seeing as we come back here later.
Look at this guy. He's going to Stanford. That's right, isn't it?
Are you ready, Euler? You betcha. You betcha. Have I hit yet?
All the gold in California is in a bank in the middle of Beverly Hills in Frank Cherkinian's name.
That certainly may be true. Frank Cherkinian, our executive producer. We look forward to a great afternoon here at Pebble Beach. Now let's go back to Jim Nance.
All right, thank you very much, Pat. And again, that comes up live, 5 o'clock Eastern Time, 3rd round action from Pebble Beach. And we'll continue with a look at a new coach with a new approach at the University of Maryland as we continue to hold court on the College Basketball Report. We're back at the Cap Center in Landover, Maryland on the College Basketball Report. Georgetown leading it at halftime. We're about 15 miles down the road from the University of Maryland, where that basketball program has really been under the microscope for the past 8 months. This week, we visited the man who is trying to wade through the stormy conditions and replace a coach who was a local legend.
The guy hit the ball. Out, out, out. 33, 33.
Lefty Drizel was the man in charge of Maryland basketball. The man who built the program into a powerhouse, and the man who recruited and coached such superstars as Lynn Bias. But after Bias died of a cocaine overdose last year, Lefty was ousted, and the program was in chaos.
Our basketball players had been just under siege. They couldn't walk out of their dormitory rooms without a minicam being in their face, or a reporter from a major newspaper with a pad asking them questions. They'd been through grand jury investigations. They had an unbelievable amount of scrutiny and finger pointing.
In the wake of all the turmoil, Maryland decided it wanted to change the role of the student athlete. In an unprecedented move and symbolic of the school's seriousness, Chancellor John Slaughter delayed the start of the basketball season by 1 month. This newfound idealism was met with skepticism among the college community.
I think that's a shame if it's idealistic to get a quality education. You know, and I've heard that too. And people look at me with a raised eyebrow when I say it's possible to have a good education program and a good athletic program at the same time.
Rebound. Good job, Nard.
Bob Wade was Slaughter's selection for the job, a strict disciplinarian who made his mark winning 3 national championships at Baltimore's Dunbar High School.
Academics will come first. If a youngster's not doing what he's supposed to do academically, going to class and things of that nature, then he's got to deal with Bob Wade.
At the College Park campus, everyone is getting used to the new man on the bench. Students, boosters, and even the players.
No one knew him, no one knew of him, besides me and a couple other people. Like I said, I felt that it was a good decision they made.
People throughout the state of Maryland are upset at what's happened, but I'm happy to tell you that the great bulk of our boosters are staying with us.
I think everybody's ready to give him a chance. You know, Lefty had a good run here, and we're ready to give Wade a good run, too.
Even with no seniors and only one junior, the Terps have stayed competitive with a 6 and 7 mark. The welcome wagon has made the rounds, the distractions have subsided, and now Bob Wade can get down to doing what he does best, coaching.
And I realize that anytime there's a new guy on the block, it takes time for a change to come about. It's been a tremendous challenge. They've done everything they possibly could to help me feel at home, but very honestly, I know it's not going to happen overnight.
You know, you can't help but notice that Coach Bob Wade coaches with great discipline and conviction. You may not find it surprising then to hear that he was a former professional football player and models many of his beliefs after one of his coaches, Vince Lombardi. The second half is coming up next. Georgetown leading it by a bucket right now. We'll rejoin Vernon Billy for the second half after this message and a word from your local station.
Our weekend report will bring you up to date tonight at 6:30.
9 of our student athletes competed in the Olympics. 6 of our 8 baseball teams have qualified for postseason play. We've had over 100 All-Americans in men's and women's track and field. We had the NCAA soccer champion in 1981. We sent a women's basketball team to the NCAAs the past 4 years. We're the Big East Conference, a lot more than just men's basketball.
CBS Sports presents college basketball. Today's game is sponsored by the Heartbeat of America, today's Chevrolet. Budweiser, the genuine article, Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. And by Hayes Microcomputer Products. Say yes to the future with Hayes.
We're back at the Capitol Center in Landover, Maryland, where Georgetown scored the last 7 points of the first half. They came from a 5-point deficit, 31-26, and went on top 33-31. Vern Lundquist along with Bill Cunningham. And despite a rather anemic field goal percentage, they have maintained a lead here at halftime, Bill.
Well, the big key is the offensive boards. They're out rebounding on the offensive board. Syracuse 12-5. That's a big number. So, and when you look at the lineup, you know, with Coleman and Cycli in there, you would expect Syracuse to dominate the boards, but this is a team, Georgetown, that is out rebounding their opponents in the Big East by 5 rebounds per game. The best in the league, by the way.
John Thompson went to his bench very early in the game. Jim Boeheim doesn't have as much of a bench as John Thompson does. Look at the example there.
That's exactly right. And the big key also coming out in the second half, he's got to get some production from his bench, but he's got to get Monroe and Cycli into the offensive scheme of the game.
You were so impressed with that 2-3 Syracuse defense early on. Then things began to slide. Now, does Jim Boeheim change anything here in this half?
Well, Coleman was sitting on the bench during that stretch, so I think that's a big factor for this ball club. I don't think he changes anything. He just lets them know that, hey, for about 15 minutes, we played great basketball. But now we go into that stretch where we're lethargic. We're letting them get the offensive rebounds. They're just more aggressive than we are. We have to maintain that throughout this second half if we have any intention of beating this Georgetown team here for the first time ever.
And, of course, there was such a surprising appearance off the bench of Georgetown with Anthony Allen.
Anthony Allen, I was thinking that John Thompson might come out and start him in the second half, just to let his team know, especially his big people, what he expects from them on the court. But he's going to start Highsmith in the middle and come out there, and I think you're going to see a different style of play from his big men in the middle because he's not going to wait for them to produce.
Syracuse will inbound. They start with Coleman, Monroe, Sherman Douglas, Howard Trish, and Ronnie Cycli. Cycli with only 2 points. Williams goes for the steal. Douglas dishes it off left side. Trish. It doesn't fall, and Anthony Allen is in the starting lineup for Georgetown.
He is out there. Excuse me.
Anthony Allen underneath. Ronnie Highsmith. Terrific feed from Reggie Williams.
I think that's a great move by John Thompson for his team, just for inspiration in a big game like this. And what confidence it gives to this young man. It lets everybody know that if you come out and perform, you'll play.
Sherman Douglas takes it up, puts it off to Trish.
Wasn't that beautiful the way they moved that basketball and hit the man on the weak side for the layup?
Reggie Williams operating in the backcourt now for Georgetown. It's a 35-33 score. Let's set this Georgetown lineup. McDonald and Tillman, along with Reggie Williams, Ronnie Highsmith, and Anthony Allen. Perry McDonald is not in the lineup despite leading Georgetown with 13 points at the half. He is in there. McDonald Bryant is on the bench.
Well, Bryant is a player that John Thompson is tougher on than anyone else because he feels his lead guard is so important.
Anthony Allen misfires, and a whistle underneath.
It's a foul on Trish, checking Highsmith off the boards.
Foul on number 25. Don't forget, coming up at the end of the game, Billy and I will be selecting the most valuable player for each team, and in their honor, a $1,000 scholarship will go to the General Scholarship Fund of each school. The Chevy MVP, that's coming up a little later on.
Has a 10th man ever won that award? Because Anthony Allen has a shot at it today.
Wouldn't that be something?
Yep.
And the foul is called on Perry McDonald, number 10. Ronnie Cycli getting a lecture from Jim Boeheim. He has been so inconsistent throughout his career.
Yeah, he just needs, for some way, he's got to find it within himself. Jim Boeheim is not going to find what is lacking in Cycli at this point. He's got to find a way to be more aggressive and try to be a more dominant player on the court.
Monroe hits three. He is the three-point leader of Syracuse, hitting 46% for the season, and the Georgetown team is now trailing by one.
And that's only the second field goal for Monroe. Now, when you play Monroe, very similar to Reggie, you got to get up and force him to put it on the floor.
Highsmith to Williams. Third three-pointer. No, that's two. Only two. John Thompson said that should have been three. Officials disagreed.
Well, he's just planting a seed in the minds of those officials that they might look at it a little closer.
The counter from Sherman Douglas. It's a 38-37 Syracuse lead. Williams to McDonald.
In that 2-3 zone, trying to force the perimeter shot. The one man they really have to be conscious of is Reggie out on the perimeter.
Anthony Allen, entry pass to Highsmith. He's hassled. Gets the shot away. It's off the front iron. And then Anthony Allen comes up with a loose ball. Williams, this is for three. No question that time.
You know, he's a player. I thought he'd come out a little stronger in the first half, but we've seen so many times in games where he's the one that establishes the tempo and the play of his ball club in the second half and the first half.
Derek Brower, who had replaced Cycli, and Anthony Allen draws the foul.
Well, you mentioned in the Providence game, he came out in the second half and had 25 points and 11 rebounds. This is a guy that has the ability to get himself ready at halftime and use that to benefit himself. And I just, the more I see him, the more I love him as a player. And you get a chance to talk with him. One thing, I ran into him in an airport a couple of weeks ago, and he was telling me the big concern he had about himself was that he was shooting the ball, he felt, and playing better on the road and not as well at home. And he just couldn't figure out why. But if he keeps it going the way he started the second half, he won't have to worry about that.
There's Reggie Williams, the man about whom we are speaking. Ronnie Highsmith now with 3 fouls. Derek Brower will shoot his second. Gets that one.
First points off the bench for the Syracuse ball club.
40-39. Georgetown in the lead. 17:05 to go. Georgetown 14-3, but 4-3 in Big East play. Lost twice to Seton Hall and on the road at Providence. Jaron Jackson has come in now, number 21. He looks for McDonald. And they go back to Reggie Williams.
They show great patience. They'd like to get it inside if they could to Edwards, but I'm sure that they prefer to see Reggie with that ball in his hands and shooting it because he's such an outstanding perimeter shooter. And when he touches it, he just forces the defense to react a little differently to him than anyone else.
Turnover. That's number 14 for Georgetown in the game.
Well, they're just trying to force things inside that aren't there.
Timeout has been called with 16:30 to go. John Thompson graduated from Providence College, played for the Celtics for a couple of years. We chatted with him yesterday. asked him the two men who had been most influential in his career.
Yeah, I thought that was very interesting. The two he mentioned were Red Auerbach. He felt Red for the way he dealt with people and got the most out of them. And Dean Smith, he felt that Dean really gave him a lot of insight on what to expect about basketball and the way it was going to be played and how to be successful. Very similar backgrounds. You know, I was with Dean Smith down in North Carolina when that program was on the bottom, and he was able to build it, obviously, to #1 ranking today. Same thing with John Thompson. Poor program and has developed it into one of the national powers.
Ronnie Cycli back in after a little bit of a lecture on the Syracuse bench. Suppose I asked you the same question. Who was most influential in your career?
Those two men. When I first became coach of Philadelphia, one of the first things I did was read Red Auerbach's book.
And of course played for Dean Smith. Here's Sherman Douglas. Nice dish off to Coleman. Oh, a little dipsy-do underneath.
What body control by a 6'11" man out there. Just, he's going to be something special.
9 points for the freshman from Detroit, a 41-40 Syracuse lead. Reggie Williams leads all scorers with 15. He's got the ball at the top of the key.
You know, Jimmy Boeheim really impresses me with his patience with Cycli, taking him over there and dealing with him.
15 turnovers for Georgetown. Coleman gets it. Sherman Douglas. Greg Monroe for three.
Boy, turnovers is such a factor in this basketball game. Any team that's getting the turnovers has the ability to get down there and convert them to easy hoops.
15-8 now. And a 44-40 Syracuse lead. Largest lead of the game has been 6. And that was owned by Syracuse late in the first half. Jaren Jackson, Reggie Williams, 2 points. 2 points.
He was trying to get those feet together. He couldn't get them together. He hit the net that time. That's how poorly he shot that one. I mean, this young man can really fill it up.
17 for Williams now, 44-42.
I think that at some point we're going to see a boxing one on Reggie Williams. He has just come out and been the whole offense this second half for this Georgetown ball club.
Sam Jefferson, and watch him battle with Ronnie Cycli. They don't want Cycli along the baseline.
Oh, absolutely, because he can hurt you with the lob and also on the offensive boards, and those are two areas that they want to make sure that don't hurt them. You know, getting back to Jimmy Boeheim with Cycli, you know, the patience that he's had over the years with him, bringing him out, sitting, talking with him, explaining what he has to do, how he has to do it. I don't know many coaches that would have the ability to do that. I know myself, if I was there, you know, I'd lose my temper. I'd become very frustrated, you know, repeating yourself to the young man, but he just doesn't give up. And I think that Jimmy Boeheim sometimes doesn't get the recognition that he deserves.
Monroe hits another three-pointer.
Well, if I played Monroe, I'd do one thing. I'd tell that man to get up on him, get on his right hand, even though he's left-handed, and force him to put it on the floor going to his left, because he wants to go to his right to shoot the jump shot or a stationary jump shot.
Basket underneath by Reggie Williams to counter. That's 19 points for Williams and a 47-44 lead. Monroe has hit 3 three-pointers in the game. Reggie Williams is 8 of 10 from the field. Here's Derek Coleman. Gives it back to Monroe. Fakes it. Nice little give and go. No foul. No foul.
Now here's the versatility of Reggie Williams. Now he has to go man-to-man and play against a man 4 inches bigger than him on the inside. He just plays any position, does anything that John Thompson asks of him.
There's the foul underneath. That'll go on Sam Jefferson. His second in a row. Excuse me,
But
Bill.
somehow, some way, John Thompson's got to find some more production offensively from somebody other than Reggie Williams. He is just carrying this team at this point. There's 4 other players on the court, but they're not contributing offensively.
Derek Coleman guarded by Jaren Jackson. 47-44 with 14 minutes to go in the ballgame. Syracuse, the only team to ever defeat Georgetown in the Big East tournament, but they're trying to win here at Cap Center for the first time ever. 3-second violation.
Now, this is where Syracuse has got to go inside offensively. When this team goes to the man-to-man defense, and you have Coleman and Cycli inside with such a big advantage. Cycli's coming out of the game right now, and Brower's going in, but you have to look inside to your strength.
And once again, the conversation begins with Boeheim and Cycli. It's been going on for 3 years now.
It just appears they have a great relationship.
Williams. Jefferson can't hang on. Brower, quick outlet pass to Douglas. Nice feed. Monroe rejected by Reggie Williams. there's confusion on the floor. The battle for the ball, and Georgetown has it. But quickly, Coleman gets it to Brower, and he gets the roll.
The basket should count.
John Thompson wanted basket interference, but it counts.
Well, if we get a replay of that, you can handle that one. I mean, that was up and down. But right here, we're going to see the shot.
That's Brower. This is the shot that goes. And there is Coleman edging away to keep from interfering with the basket. Prior to that, we had Rowdy, what's his name? The wrestler. Rowdy Piper, right? Yeah. See, it shows how much I follow that stuff.
I can't believe you watch that stuff.
No, I don't. That's John Madden who does. 49-44, 13-15 to go. Jaren Jackson for three.
That's what they need. Someone else besides Reggie to add another dimension to this ball club offensively.
49-47. Monroe followed by Jaren Jackson. Brower fakes it underneath. That's inside the three-point mark, but Monroe is really on fire. It is three.
Well, what happened, that was inside the three-point to the NBA line.
I saw the red and didn't see the white. Here's Monroe. The pace of this game has appreciated considerably. Foul, Georgetown. Anthony Allen back in the lineup.
I'll tell you, this Syracuse team has really come out and is impressing me with their poise coming out on the road, because they have been struggling in recent games, and this is a tough, they've never won here in all the years of the Big East, and now they're just playing with great poise, and they realize how big it is, and I would believe that this team could really grow from this point on if they can hold on and beat this Georgetown ball club.
That is not Eric Rogers. This is Derek Coleman at the line, and he misses. Well, despite the overwhelming, enormous success as Highsmith comes back in for Syracuse, the one consistent knock I think that one hears about Jimmy Boeheim and the Orangemen is their inability to win the big game on the road. So this is a pivotal game for them in the season. Cycli gets the roll.
Oh, Jimmy Boeheim, love that. Look, they say he doesn't show emotion. He's up there cheering right now.
Underneath, Highsmith, whistle again.
You know, with Ronnie Cycli, if there's a player he should watch, I would say it would be Kevin McHale. About the same size, outstanding athlete. Who could you watch better at the strong forward position in all of basketball than Kevin McHale? And just watch how he plays and the concentration level of Kevin and the way he has developed as a basketball player. Just great.
There's another turnover. That's 16 for Georgetown. Monroe. And he'll come back and settle things down, at least for the moment. 54-47, Syracuse. 12-18 to go.
They got to go inside to their big people.
There's Cycli, top of the key.
Good patience. They have plenty of time on that 45-second clock.
Douglas from Monroe. That's another three-pointer. This one won't go. But Trish with the offensive rebound. Off-balance shot. Coleman.
Great pass, though. That's what they'll say to the coach after the game. Hey, coach, but you know, I really wasn't shooting it. All of a sudden, I noticed Coleman underneath. That's what I did.
He had more follow-through for any pass I've ever seen. John Thompson looks on. We've got 11:57 to go in the game. And Coleman back at the line. 4 fouls on Ronnie Highsmith, and Jonathan Edwards comes back in. Now 1 of 4.
If he could do one thing on this foul shot, is just raise his arm a little bit higher when he finishes his shot. His arm is too extended in the direction of the basket. It has to be a little higher.
Got it that time. 55-47, largest lead of the game for Syracuse.
The Houston Rockets, sparked by the all-star power of the Towers, take on the Atlanta Hawks in the flash attack of Dominique tomorrow on CBS Sports.
Not all Georgetown fans here in Landover. Large contingent of Syracuse folks have come down. Look at how Syracuse and Georgetown have both improved their shooting percentage in this half.
Well, Vern, for Syracuse, it's their ability to convert the turnovers into easy baskets, and the other reason is Monroe, the way he's been shooting the ball from the perimeter.
Greg Monroe has 4 3-pointers in this half. It's an 8-point lead. Now Charlie Smith has come into the lineup. Reggie Williams works along the baseline.
But one thing that's misleading about the Georgetown shooting 60%, they've committed so many turnovers in this second half that can be very misleading.
Matter of fact, their turnover figure is now at 16. Charlie Smith penetrates, lays it out. Tillman for 3. That is the first basket for Mark Tillman. He's averaging 10 points a game.
Well, we're going to see Georgetown come out and really pick up the pressure defensively. They're just going to play straight man-to-man defense, though. That shows a lot of respect for the way Jimmy Boeheim is attacking that zone trap.
Sherman Douglas gets it across the timeline. Monroe, Coleman, underneath the cycling. Nice fake, puts it off the glass and in. Excellent play.
Perfect execution.
4 points, 6 points now for cycling. Here's Anthony Allen. The follow from Williams.
I wonder if he sold some popcorn at halftime. It's about the only thing he might not be doing today.
57-52, 21 for Reggie Williams. Just 2 below his season average. From the corner, Trish gets his own rebound. Is hacked in the arm. Charlie Smith, there was no foul call.
The guy was just pulling him back. He was trying to go to the basket, and the guy was pulling him somehow. He was a little stronger.
59-52. It was 33-31 Georgetown at the half, and we're near the midway point of the second half now. Lob pass to Jonathan Edwards, puts it on the ground, rejected by Cycli, Coleman, and here comes Syracuse again. Boeheim wants an intentional foul. I don't think he's going to get that.
Well, I don't think he should get it because on that play, Smith did go for the basketball. He was going to either get the basketball or make sure that Monroe did not get the basket. Now we'll watch him. He has a pretty good angle to go for the ball. He didn't have a chance for it. He's going to make sure that he was going to commit that foul and not allow that three-point opportunity. Now I think there's only 2 areas in basketball where it's a flagrant foul, a dirty play. Now if someone leaves their feet and someone hits the other person's feet, now you're in the air, you have no control, and in many cases you can fall and really hurt yourself seriously, or seeing elbows being swung. Those are the 2 areas where a basketball player can get hurt seriously.
And that was not the case on that play. Greg Monroe, as you see, 50% for the day. Well, he's been a key factor in this second half now. Monroe has 17 points, and 14 have come after halftime.
It's almost like you got a wake-up call for the second half.
Thought the game started at 4.
Yeah.
Mark Tillman back to Reggie Williams. Williams looks underneath the McDonald. Now Charlie Smith. Charles Smith, number 13. 61-52 with 9:43 to go. McDonald back to Charlie Smith. Makes it all the way. Rejected by Coleman. Gets the foul. That's 3. See if Boeheim makes a move now.
There was a lot of contact in there. It almost appeared, though, that Coleman got that basketball and someone else might have fouled him.
Charles Smith will go to the line. Smith, pretty typical of this Georgetown team. He's only hitting 57% of his free throws. They just have really struggled at the free throw line.
Oh, that's something that through the years has been the Achilles for this Georgetown ball club. You know, I think that Jimmy Boeheim playing Monday night and not having to play to Saturday is a big point because he had a lot of time to stress the fundamentals and the things his team wasn't doing well, and also had a little bit extra time to prepare for this Georgetown team because they throw so many different defenses against you that you can't do it all in one day. Oh, look at that.
Tip in, Cycli. See who they give the credit to. It was Ronnie Cycli who tipped it in. 6-point lead, 61-55. Smith bothering Douglas as he brings it across the timeline. The young man who replaced Pearl Washington at the point guard spot. Monroe. Howard Trish. Good ball movement by Syracuse.
Yeah, and John Thompson right now has his best defensive ball club on the court right now.
There's a battle for the loose ball. Georgetown traveling.
Well, we could just see the pressure being picked up by this Georgetown ball club.
Timeout has been called. We'll return to the Capitol Center after this word from your local station. Vern Lundquist, Bill Cunningham from the Capitol Center in Landover, Maryland. Syracuse with a strong second half performance, now up by 6 in their quest to win for the first time ever here. And coming up next on CBS, the AT&T Pebble Beach National Pro-Am. Matt Summerall, Kenny Venturi, Ben Wright back from Milan, Italy, and Steve Melnick will be out there with Gary McCord.
Have you ever played a more picturesque golf course than Pebble Beach?
It's hard to bring the club back. You stand in awe of the beauty.
I played one time there, and I thought we played a quick round of golf. We were out there for 6 hours. Of course, my play had something to do with that as well.
You shot 73, right?
Oh, at the front side.
That's coming up next on CBS. In the meantime, Ronnie Cycli comes back on the court.
Right now, Syracuse has got to get their composure back. Make sure the next time down they get a good offensive shot. Georgetown, they got to keep doing what they've been doing the last minute or two. Defensively, and they're going to have the patience here offensively.
Dwayne Bryant, number 12, back in the lineup with the ball now for John Thompson's quintet.
The problem right now is they don't have any perimeter shooters except for Reggie Williams.
Bryant has really been cold today. And there's Cycli, gets rid of it to Greg Monroe. Howard Trish back to Monroe. Looks underneath for Cycli, but he's well covered.
That's good patience right now. They're under control. They need the good shot. They're going to look for Coleman underneath, posting up with this set.
Howard Trish, number 25.
Now they should just set it up. They have plenty of time. They have 20 seconds left on the 45-second clock.
Got a quick start.
That's bad play by Sherman Douglas. That's where you have to have that leadership from the lead guard. He's got to say, hey, let's run the same play again. Let's have the patience. We'd like to go inside to one of our big people. And with the set they're running there, they're looking to go inside to Coleman.
Turnovers now 17 for Georgetown and 12 for Syracuse. And a whistle away from the ball underneath. Jonathan Edwards gets it.
That's a good call. Jonathan Edwards was not stationary, and he was just moving into Trish and committed that silly foul.
43-41 Louisville over Kansas in the second half. Denny Crum's bunch struggling.
Boy, that's a team. I'm sure Denny doesn't know what to expect from one day to the next. You know, they play a great ball game. The next game they played Memphis State. They just didn't show up for that ball game.
Howard Trish on the line, senior from Syracuse, 6'5", 215. He is a 72% free throw shooter for the year.
It's hard to believe watching him play now. When he was a freshman, sophomore, he would get so nervous, he would start hyperventilating. And now you look at him, he's so poised, so under control, and you know, he's just worked his way through that. Didn't Joe Morris have that problem too with the Giants?
Yes, he did, as a matter of fact. Boeheim likes it. It's a 62-55 lead for the Syracuse team. Lane violation?
Yeah,
sure is.
No excuse for something like that. You have to let that ball be released by the shooter, then you look to go get it.
So wipe out the basket. Now Georgetown has it back. Bryant.
Can you imagine if they lose by 1?
Oh, boy.
That guy had better make arrangements for transportation back to Syracuse.
Cycli. Hacked. Edwards with the foul. That's 3 on Jonathan Edwards. And we'll go to the free throw line at the other end. Ronnie Cycli.
Well, we just see what the presence of the big players are doing for Syracuse inside. They're forcing this Georgetown team to shoot from the perimeter, and the only player doing that is Reggie Williams.
John Thompson calls timeout. Don't forget, coming up next, the AT&T Pebble Beach National Pro-Am from Pebble Beach, California on CBS. And you can see with this live shot that the weather is gorgeous, and that can be a little unpredictable out there. And last we checked, Payne Stewart had a 1-stroke lead, but that was some time ago. He and Lanny Watkins in a battle, and it ought to be interesting and fun to watch that classic from the West Coast. Ronnie Cycli at the line.
He has his form is just outstanding when he shoots the basketball. Excellent concentration there on the foul line.
but gets only 1 of 2, and here comes Georgetown. 8-point lead, 7:45 to go in the ball game. Charles Smith in the corner. Back to Reggie Williams.
Again, the perimeter, you look at the shooters that are out there. Charles Smith, Bryant, McDonald's flashed out there, and Reggie Williams. Not much perimeter offense for this ball club.
Underneath the Smith, but he's got to get by Cycli, and he does! Oh, what a prayer!
Oh, boy.
Just picked a spot 11 feet up on the glass and put it there.
Said a few prayers on this one. Now Cycli plays this very nicely. Goes up there, but look at this shot. But that's the type of shot, though, that could ignite this crowd. Get the crowd back into the game, and also ignite the defense of this Georgetown ball club. Because I think if they're going to do it, they're going to have to create some turnovers and get some easy hoops against the Syracuse ball club.
Three-pointer for Charles Smith, 63-58, a 5-point lead. 3 fouls on Ronnie Cycli. Derek Coleman will inbound. Missed connection, but Douglas is able to control, and Smith fell down and hurt an elbow. Hustles back, but he's playing effectively with one arm now, only his right. Underneath the Cycli. Off the glass, followed by Coleman.
Remember that point you made about John Thompson did not want anyone to get behind his defensive men down low? There was a case where they threw the lob. Even though Cycli didn't convert, they were able to pound the offensive boards.
Injury timeout now. Charles Smith in trying to get the ball away from Sherman Douglas. Injured his left elbow, and he'll take a seat on the bench. Let's check the Georgetown lineup now. Tillman and Bryant in the backcourt. Reggie Williams comes up to the top of the key. Perry McDonald and Jonathan Edwards. There's Cycli with a rejection. Skip pass. Mark Tillman. Nice move. Tillman almost got his own rebound, and Trish controls for the Orange Man.
Missed it because of Cycli, though. Forced him to put a little too much arc on that shot.
6:40 remaining in the ball game. Cycli fakes and will shoot a free throw.
Cycli you should have used the pump fake, which he did. If he put the ball on the floor, he would have been able to power it right to the hole.
Rebounds in this half, 12 for Syracuse and 9 for Georgetown. And Jonathan Edwards has just picked up his 4th foul. Cycli back at the free throw line to shoot a couple. Out of Athens, Greece, a junior at 6'10".
You know, against most teams, Perry McDonald is a big factor against the zones when he gets the ball in the lane area. He has that ability to go up strong and shoot the ball even though he's 6'4". But when he's against Coleman and Cycli, that just has taken his strength offensively inside away from him in the Georgetown Ball Club.
John Thompson has sent Highsmith in with 4 fouls, for Edwards with 4. Here's Williams for 3, and Trish with the rebound. Reggie followed his own shot, no foul call. Douglas puts it up for Cycli off balance. The tip, and Highsmith controls for Georgetown.
Should have gotten control, come down, and gone up for the shot.
Bryant. And underneath, the foul will be called on Bobby Winston, I believe, number 4. Yes.
And they'll go to the other end and shoot those foul shots, but the big guys on this ball club now are really standing up and taking over this basketball game. They're wearing down this Georgetown team. It's either Cycli going for the block shots or Coleman. We've seen him with a great tip-in dunk, and now getting to the defensive boards. Now, John Thompson's got to be obviously very concerned at this point with a chance to, after this one-on-one situation, to be down 10 points. But we saw last week when they beat DePaul, they were down, about 7-8 points with around 3-4 minutes to play, and were able to come back and win that ball game.
Syracuse now 14 of 25 at the free throw line. Underneath, chance for 3. And Cycli draws his 4th foul.
Well, what Cycli did wrong in that case was that he wasn't going to go up and contest the shot of Reggie Williams, but he moved his body in underneath. He should have just taken a step back and made sure he didn't pick up the cheap foul.
He leaves with 5:55 to go in the game, and Reggie Williams is at the free throw line.
Well, we know we're going to see a lot of defensive pressure once that ball turns over to Syracuse if Reggie makes this foul shot.
Here's the press. 66-61 with just under 6 minutes remaining. Largest lead of the game has been 8 by Syracuse, and they have led through most of this half.
It's interesting how Syracuse breaks the pressure. They give the ball to Monroe, and they take Douglas out of the play, not allowing Charles Smith to pressure Douglas in the backcourt.
Anthony Allen draws the foul, number 24, the freshman from Port Arthur, Texas.
21, well, it appears that the way Georgetown is playing, they're going to be very aggressive, and they will pick up those fouls. So it's going to be up to Syracuse to make these one-on-ones.
And Coleman gets this one. Eric Coleman now 3 of 7 from the line today. Cans them both, and it's a 7-point lead once more. Clock shows 5:40 remaining in the game. Syracuse trying to go 18-2 for the year and 7-1 in Big East play and keep the lead. Nice pass along the baseline, but the ball is stripped, and Douglas comes out of there with it. Finds Monroe, but it's a 1-on-4. They need to reset, and he does.
And good patience. Bring it back. Let's run our offense. Try if we can against the man-to-man and get it inside if we can to Coleman.
Trish will go to the line. Foul is called on Reggie Williams. That's his second.
Boy, he's just played a fine basketball game offensively, hasn't he? You know, we've been talking so much about Cyclee and Coleman and how important they are to this offense, especially when Georgetown's playing a man-to-man. But Trish is just that steady influence out there with this ball club.
Well, he's very quietly gotten 14 points. Winston with the rebound for Georgetown. Right side to Charles Smith. Can't get the roll. Williams gets the rebound. Yet one more. Loose ball. Williams gets it. He'll go to the line and shoot. No basket. Trish with the foul.
Well, it was just good hustle by Reggie picking up that basketball. And they're not in the penalty situation yet, so they'll take it side out of bounds.
Matter of fact, that's only the 15th foul on Syracuse in this half. So Georgetown will inbound. Bobby Winston looks for Anthony Allen, settles for Williams, tipped. Georgetown ball.
Well, they're not going to allow Reggie to just step in there and catch it and fire away. They get very conscious, even though they're in the zone, of him catching the ball. And there he is. He picked up a foul. Douglas was denying the basketball to him.
And Thompson is furious.
Well, John has no right. He's just upset more than anything with this play of his team. And sometimes you take that out on the official. And there was a case he knows right there. You'll see Williams just push off with his left arm. I could even call that one.
I thought for a minute that John was going to kick the basketball. You know about that, right?
Well, I've done that. I almost hit an official right in the head when I did it. Of course, he asked me to leave quietly.
And pay the fine. And again, Syracuse with problems at the line. The lead stays at 8 with 4:50 to go in the ball game. McDonald puts it in.
Well, he's playing with a lot more confidence in that area because Cyclee is out of the ball game.
Greg Monroe to Howard Trish, number 25. 4:35 to go in the ball game.
Need good patience. Make sure they get a good shot every time down the court. They're the ones in the lead.
Smith. Intentional foul. They did call this one.
Well, that was, I don't know if I'd call that an intentional foul. Because it appeared, you know, he had a case going for the basketball. Let's take a look. He was reaching in for the basketball.
With some authority.
Yes.
Timeout, Syracuse. 4:25 remaining in regulation time. Both teams with 2 timeouts left. A 69-63 Syracuse lead. Ronnie Cycli is back in the ball game, playing with 4 fouls. Highsmith and Edwards remain on the bench for Georgetown, both with 4. And the possession arrow now is in Georgetown's favor, just in case that becomes a factor. There you see it.
Well, Charles Smith is not a good foul shooter, shooting 57%. All net. All net.
Smith now with 5 points and 2 assists. And he gets them both to a 4-point edge. Inbounds to Cycli. And he'll hand it off. Sherman Douglas in the corner to Howard Trish for Syracuse, number 25, the senior forward.
They have not gotten a good shot off the last few times down the court. They're going to have to make sure they execute their offense. Looks like they're going to try and use a little bit of time, spreading the court.
Greg Monroe had 4 3-pointers early in the half. Now Douglas along the baseline puts it up short. Anthony Allen with the rebound. Quick outlet pass. That was a poor choice. And Monroe gets it back for Syracuse, puts it along the baseline. They'll come back and reload. 3:44 to go in the ball game.
Charlie Smith ran right over Jimmy Boeheim. Well, right now, both teams need to get some poise, some patience. We've seen Douglas take a quick shot from the baseline, too deep on the baseline, and we've seen the errant pass by the Georgetown ball club.
Back to Trish. Clock shows 3:37.
Got to get it inside to the big guys.
Syracuse trying to win here for the first time ever. Douglas. Coleman with the rebound. He'll go to the line.
Well, the key was they did go inside to Cycli. They came down and double teamed, and he swung the ball quickly. The penetration and the offensive rebound.
Coming up next, the AT&T Pebble Beach National Pro-Am third-round coverage. On CBS, Jim Boeheim looks on as he sends Derek Coleman to the line. As a team, Syracuse 17 of 30, and they've missed a lot of the front ends of 1-and-1s. If they get this one.
I also told you, though, they're shooting close to 80%, though, in the last 3 minutes of ball games.
Derek Coleman now 5 of 9 for the line, and he gets them both. 71-65, 3:26 to go in the game. Bobby Winston operating at point guard now.
You know, John likes to use him because he feels that he just settles things down offensively for him.
That's a terrific pass from Bobby Winston underneath.
Well, it's a smart play by McDonald, too. He was aware that Cycli had those 4 fouls and said, hey, what the heck, let me take it to him strong. Maybe I can pick up the foul or he's going to have to back off, one of the two.
Howard Trish double team, gets it back to Monroe. Now he's got Anthony Allen on him. Long pass back to Sherman Douglas.
You just don't want to throw that type of pass against the Georgetown team because they love that. That's 2 points for them.
Walking, offensive foul, no travel, through the elbow.
Well, they're just trying to force some things that aren't there. They have to show the patience. The last time they came down, they got the ball into Cycli. Even though Douglas missed a good shot, they were able to get to the offensive boards.
Boeheim looks on, hollering defensive signals now. 3 fouls on Howard Trish. 71-67, 2:38 to go. For 3, yes!
Well, Trish just fell asleep defensively. He just knows that he can't allow Reggie Williams to shoot a 3-pointer uncontested. You have to get out there on him no matter what type of defense you're playing.
Coleman, Monroe, no. Williams with the rebound. Charles Smith. Georgetown leads.
He got fouled on that as well. We see a Syracuse team just coming apart at the seams right now.
And Syracuse tried to call timeout, but before they could, a foul called on Anthony Allen. A I think it was 24 instead of 4. Watch the outlet pass.
Yeah, great pass by Charles Davis. Now the big key is you need your guards back defensively, and neither one of them you can see in that picture, either Douglas or Monroe.
So a 72-71 game. Boeheim's bunch has dropped a 6-point lead. They were outscored at the end of the first half, 7-zip.
Well, it's been the defensive Georgetown. They've just raised it an extra notch. And I think, excuse me, but I think for Syracuse, if they plan on winning this basketball game, they're going to have to pick up their defense, because when they were really on a roll in the second half, they were aggressive, they were creating turnovers with their defense.
Douglas gets 2, and Syracuse back on top by 1 with 2 minutes to go in the game. Bobby Winston peers inside. 2-3 zone has been employed almost the entire game. They look for Williams. He's covered by Coleman, so they come back to Winston underneath the McDonald. Battle. Winston will shoot.
Foul on Trish.
4 fouls on Howard Trish. So he and Cycli both playing with 4. And Bobby Winston, who's a 57% free throw shooter, will go to the line. 17 of 30 for the year.
Well, with every possession, it becomes even more and more important that you do the job on the defensive boards. That goes for both teams. They can't allow those second shots, because in most cases they end up being fouls or an easy layup.
How about the rebound by Coleman? Syracuse with the ball and a 1-point edge with 1:40 to go in the game.
Well, they're going to use a little of the clock.
Bobby Winston fouls Sherman Douglas.
Well, as long as they have the lead with 1:30 to 1:37 to play now, Vern, I expect Syracuse would like to use a little bit of the clock. And then eventually, and we've been saying it now for, it feels like the whole second half, look to go inside to their big people. And then if they double down, now swing it out to Monroe or Douglas for that easy jump shot.
Douglas just hit 2, and he's back at the line, shooting 1 and 1. 7 of 8 today. 8 of 9 today.
Well, he's the best foul shooter on this ball club, shooting nearly 80%, 78% from the foul line.
Jimmy Boeheim glances longingly at the clock. 97 seconds to go. Douglas gets them both. And it's a 3-point Syracuse edge again after that quick spurt by Georgetown, but now they've got the ball and the ever-present threat of Reggie Williams.
That's all it is, 1 shot from Reggie.
Williams with 27 points. They try and set him up left side.
Again, with the perimeter shooters they have, the one they have to key on right now is Reggie. So they have to talk and communicate defensively to let each other know where he is.
For 3. The tip. And the foul over the back on Derek Coleman, number 44.
Well, Anthony Allen was the one that made that happen. He got to the offensive boards and kept it alive, and Perry McDonald was able to get fouled going to the hoop.
4 fouls on Coleman, so 4 on Coleman, Trish, and Cycli. And none of the current quintet for Georgetown on the floor has 4. Highsmith, I beg your pardon, Anthony Allen does. McDonald at the line. He's 2 of 3 for the day from the free throw stripe.
And I'll tell you what, if he makes this one, the pressure defensively is just going to be something. I don't know if they'll go to their man-to-man or they'll look to trap. But whichever one is going to be with a great deal of pressure.
75-74, 70 seconds remaining. Coleman to inbound. Good strong pass to Cycli.
What pressure?
They're fighting the time now. They get it across. Trish quickly over to Greg Monroe.
And they barely got that over half court.
Just did beat the 10-second mark. We've got 57 seconds remaining in the game. John Thompson's team trails by 1. 57 seconds remaining. Syracuse hangs on to a 1-point edge. Syracuse has 1 timeout left. Georgetown has 2. The last 10 points for Syracuse have been from the free throw line. There you see the timeouts remaining. And the the possession arrow again. It's still in Georgetown's favor as John Thompson prowls the sideline.
It's interesting. Jim Boeheim has a decision to make. There's 57 seconds left, 32 on the 45-second clock. If he would take a quick shot or a good shot within the next, say, 7 seconds, and he didn't, and Georgetown scored at the other end, he still would have that last possession. So he could have 2 possessions to Georgetown's 1.
See if that's what they've got in mind. A loose ball down, and Coleman is fouled. And Coleman reacted with a little bit of a kick after Charles Smith went after the ball.
Well, the first things both coaches did was make sure that none of the players left the bench. That's where the problem occurs. When you have people leaving the bench, the officials can handle the players that are out there, and they'll make sure it's under control. And that's just something that was good coaching right there by both John Thompson and Jim Boeheim.
Watch it again.
Now here's the loose ball. We see he kicked him right in the shoulder.
And now a technical foul has been called against Syracuse on Derek Coleman.
Yeah, I think you're right. Wow.
Coleman is called for the technical, but he will shoot a 1-and-1.
That's a lot of poise. You know, a young man, they just call a technical foul on him. He's saying, oh my goodness, that could blow the game, but he's able to get his concentration back on what the most important thing is to do. Well, he made 1 at least of the 2.
And now at the other end of the line, it'll be Reggie Williams to shoot the technical. The shooter's roll, 76-75. Watch it again, and the technical is a foul call when the clock is stopped.
That's a good call by the official. Now we have a case where there's, with the 45-second clock, now there's 49 seconds left in the game, so if Syracuse can play good defense, no matter what Georgetown does, they will get that last shot opportunity.
Reggie Williams prowls around, gets the ball. Greg Monroe guards it.
That's a play right there. They love to run with Reggie. A dribble handoff and let him look for that three-point shot. Don't be surprised to see it again.
Underneath, they penetrate with the entry pass. Clock shows 20 seconds. Williams for 3. No. Rebound. Harry McDonald puts it up. No. Tip. No. Yes. Yes.
Look at this. There's a foul on who?
Charles Smith of Georgetown. And the best free throw shooter on the Syracuse team goes to the line with 8 seconds to go.
Now here's the hustle of Georgetown on the offensive board. Cycling went for the tip, so he couldn't get that good position on the defensive boards. Great tip in by Anthony Allen.
And timeout has been called by John Thompson's Georgetown team with 8 seconds to go, and Sherman Douglas going to the free throw line. Don't forget, coming up next, the AT&T Pebble Beach National Pro-Am live from Pebble Beach, California, next on CBS.
Okay, right now, it's a difficult situation for a coach, Jimmy Boeheim, because he's got to talk about something negative in the huddle, and you don't like to do that in this situation. He's got to make his players aware. We have 8 seconds left to play. If Douglas misses the first end of this one-on-one, we're going to have to foul. You don't like to bring anything negative into that huddle, but that's something they're going to have to do. And if he makes both, okay, now what are we going to do defensively? And I would expect them, if he makes both foul shots, to put a little pressure on the ball out of bounds, force to slow Georgetown down. Don't let them get a running head start coming at you with that 8 seconds, because it'll only take a player like Smith or Reggie Williams 3-4 seconds to get down to the other end of the court for a good shot. So they got to make sure he's got to cover all of those points in that huddle. Now John Thompson again, he's got to be talking to his players and saying, hey, if he makes both, this is what we're going to do. If he doesn't, what we're going to do, if he misses the first part of that one-on-one, we're going to try and use the clock, because they're going to try and foul us. And we'd like to have the ball in Reggie Williams' hand.
Boeheim takes a seat. Thompson remains standing. He's got, Jim Boeheim does, his best free throw shooter on the line. For the day, Sherman Douglas is 9 of 10, and he's got 17 points.
He doesn't remember those other 9 out of 10.
The first for the tie. The follow from Cycli. Clean block. Out of bounds, Georgetown.
Wait a second, the official has something right here. A foul on McDonald away from the ball.
Away from the ball, and John Thompson is on the floor. Watch John Thompson as he thought his team had the ball.
Oh, it's an easy job coaching.
Right.
It's not draining emotionally.
It's an ulcer factor. A 2-shot foul. So with 4 seconds left.
I still don't know who he fouled.
I think it was Cycli.
Well, then he might have called it because of the crowd noise and everything on that shot cycle he took.
Watch again and see if we can pick it up. Here's Cycli with the rebound.
Yeah, he just pushed Reggie right underneath the basket.
There's the foul.
Yeah, you're right. He called that on the shot. It was really tough to see what McDonald did, but I'm sure he was just reaching in and got called for that foul.
It was Tim Higgins, the referee, who was very definitive in making the call, and they've reset the clock now. They checked the monitor for the amount of time left in the game.
You know something? I have been very impressed with these officials in this game. They have kept everything under control. They communicate very well so far during the course of this game.
Cycli will get one more chance to tie it up. For the day, he is 2 of 6. We're tied. Georgetown quickly inbounds. 5 seconds to go. Off the glass, and Syracuse will have a chance with 2 seconds left.
I'm surprised with that shot. I can't believe John Thompson would have wanted something like that.
Timeout, the final timeout called by Syracuse. Bill, I'm with you. I can't believe the shot that was taken. Well, while we have timeout called here, let's go out to Pebble Beach for an update with Pat Summerall.
Just to bring you up to date on what's happening here, Payne Stewart is the leader at -9. He had a chance to stay at -10. And just a few moments ago, as he finished play here at Pebble Beach, he missed this putt here at 18. That was for par. And Stewart dropped from -10 to -9. He is still, however, in possession of the lead with 2-stroke advantage over Bernard Langer, Lanny Watkins, and Sandy Lyle. Now let's go back to basketball.
All right, Pat. 2 seconds remaining here. Tie ball game as Cycli hits the second and ties it up. And after that errant Georgetown shot, Syracuse has the ball with 2 seconds
It
left.
was very interesting. After the shot and the timeout, John Thompson grabbed and hugged Charlie Smith because he had a timeout. And I'm sure the young man just got wrapped up with the emotion of the game and wasn't aware of how much time, and maybe forgot what Coach Thompson wanted. I'm sure in that case he would have loved to have seen his team take a timeout, get it to half court, and they have plenty of time to get a decent shot off. Now you got to look for the long pass because it's the only way. They have no timeout, Syracuse, so they got to be looking for the long pass underneath.
There it is. Howard Trish puts it up. We're going to overtime. It's been just as intense as we thought it might, and we'll be back. As we get ready for overtime, both Syracuse and Georgetown have a trio of players with 4 fouls each. Coleman, Trish, and Cycli for the Orange men, and Highsmith, Edwards, and Anthony Allen for the Georgetown Hoyas. 5-minute overtime. Vern Lundquist, Bill Cunningham here from the Cap Center in Landover. 77-77 in this Big East brawl.
all those players with 4 fouls, they cannot lose their intensity and aggressiveness on the court, but they also have to play smart. They don't want to pick up any cheap fouls with only 5 minutes left here in the overtime.
Cycli wins the tip. Derek Coleman controls for Syracuse, number 44. Syracuse has Monroe, Douglas, Coleman, Cycli, and Trish. The starting quintet on the floor. 3 of them playing with 4 fouls. Sherman Douglas, Highsmith. That'll be it for Ronnie Highsmith. That is his 5th foul.
I hate to bring the point up, but that's something they should have been doing, Syracuse, the last several minutes of this second half, looking to get the ball inside to their big people. And the thing that Georgetown is doing defensively when it does go inside is they're looking to double team and triple team. So you go inside, bang, right outside, you might have that good open shot.
Cycli, 3 of 7 for the day. He did hit the big one to tie it up. And gets that one.
The starting team for Syracuse, these guys have been out there for the most part the whole second half of this game. And it'll be interesting to see if fatigue becomes any type of a factor here in the overtime.
Matter of fact, of the 79 points for Syracuse, 76 have come from the starting 5. They look underneath. Bobby Winston, back to Charles Smith, number 13. Allen playing with 5 fouls is in the lineup now. Charles Smith, that's 2. And Cycli goes up. Reggie Williams with the rebound. He'll shoot a couple, as Coleman now has 5. It's going to be a war of attrition.
Now you wonder, as we talked about the point you just brought up, Vern, the 3 points that Syracuse has been able to get from their bench. Now with the foul situation, this really, I think, goes in the favor of Georgetown, who has better depth than the Syracuse ball club.
Syracuse essentially an 8-man team. Coleman fouls out with 11 rebounds and 17 points. And Reggie Williams with 28 points and 12 rebounds is on the line. And after some consideration, Jim Boeheim has made his choice and sends Herman Hareed back in the lineup. But Hareed is a defensive factor, not much of a scoring threat.
No, if Hareed's going to score, it's going to be garbage. It's going to be on the offensive boards, or he might pick up a loose ball and lay it in, or maybe on a fast break opportunity. But no, they can't go to him. So who does that fall, the responsibility fall upon? That falls on Monroe, who's been very quiet the last 7 minutes of this game, and Cycli. Those 2 guys have got to get it going in this overtime.
Williams gets them both. We're tied again, 79 all, with 4:19 to go in OT. Timeout, Syracuse. He called it just in time. That is the last Syracuse timeout. 4:19 to go.
One of the unique aspects of this tournament is the fact that the amateurs stay involved throughout if they make the cut, obviously. Here's Jack Lemon, one of those involved back at 15. He said he'd rather make the cut here than win an Oscar. And that's the way it stands now. Payne Stewart through playing with a 2-stroke advantage. Let's go back to basketball.
4:19 remaining here at the Cap Center in Landover. Syracuse and Georgetown tied, and the Orangemen have used their final timeout.
Oh boy, that puts Jimmy Boeheim in a tough position. They're going to have to get control of this game in the overtime, because there's not much he can do to stop the clock and reorganize anything except take a foul, commit a foul, and they're in a situation where they'd be putting Georgetown on the foul line.
John Thompson, the essence of cool right now.
Yeah, Yeah, I know. He reminds me of Linus with that towel of his, because even when we went to practice yesterday, he had that thing draped over his shoulder.
It's a growing fad. Bill Frieder of Michigan's got one now, or has had for a while. Here comes Syracuse. Sherman Douglas. Bobby Winston guards him, picks him up 75 feet away. 79-79 with 4:06 to go in the overtime period. He's Cycli. Anthony Allen has to lay off because of 4 fouls, and Cycli blows the layup.
I think he was surprised that it was so easy for him, because what he had been seeing earlier is double and triple teaming. He should have just taken it strong to the hoop, which he did. He just happened to miss the shot. Good shot. They should go back to it again.
Cycling playing with 4, guarding Anthony Allen, prowling the baseline, and watching out for Reggie Williams. Remember, they beat DePaul with that three-pointer for the corner last week. McDonald.
No, they'll swing it around to the opposite corner now. Try and get it to Reggie. Swing it quick.
7 on the shot clock. Underneath, Herman Hareed. Anthony Allen gets rid of it. Back to Smith. Good.
I can't remember the last time Georgetown had the lead. But as we said last week against DePaul, they were down, but they never quit. They hung in there and were able to pull that one out.
81-79. 2:58 to go. Monroe, no, cycling rebound. And this time he does go right at Anthony Allen and gets the 2 to tie.
Yeah, he got a finger in the eye, too, on that play.
Still rubbing that right eye. 2:43 to go.
Got to get the ball to Reggie. Watch that dribble handoff out on the perimeter. They love to do that with Reggie and get him that open jump shot.
Now Williams comes to the left side. 2:25 to go in overtime. Syracuse and Georgetown tied at 81. Underneath, intercepted by Cycling. They tried to sneak one through to Williams.
Good reaction by Cycling. Go inside to him at the other end of the court.
Now, shouldn't they go right back to it again?
Absolutely. That's what they're doing right there. Just a different set looking to go into him.
And now Reggie Williams has drawn the defensive assignment on Ronnie Cycling. Allen playing with 4 fouls. Sherman Douglas, no.
That's a good shot. He's got to take that shot. They're backing off, trying to give that help inside to Reggie playing against Cycling. He's got to look for that shot.
Tied at 81 with 1:42 to go. McDonald turns around. Cycling's playing with 4. Turnover again. That's 22 for Georgetown. Offensive foul. Oh, boy, oh, boy.
Boy, that's a tough call right there. I'd like to see if he was able to get that defensive position running back at that pace. Let's take a look and see if Winston got there in time. He's still moving. He looks like he was moving to me.
Oh, boy. And here comes Georgetown with 1:24 to go in a tie game in overtime.
Got to get it to Reggie. He brought him to the dance. Might as well stick with him.
Reed goes out. Now he comes left side. They get him along the baseline. And Trish is there playing with 4 fouls.
You know something about Reggie? I can't think of a bad shot he's taken the whole game. You know, he knows that he's got to be the one out there, but he has that patience, and he doesn't look to force a shot.
Don't forget, coming up next, the 3rd round, the AT&T Pebble Beach National Pro-Am. 1:02 to go. Ball kicked out of bounds. And a brand new cycle on the shot clock. We're under a minute. And 37 seconds remaining on the shot clock for Georgetown now.
Yeah, they'll use the clock. They're going to take their time, use as much of the clock as they can, try and get a good shot for Reggie if they can.
And quickly, Douglas and Hareed go out on Williams. Now he'll stay over on the right side.
I think they should have been doing that a little bit earlier. They might not have to play basketball at this point.
For 3, no. Underneath, it's Charles Smith with the offensive board. And now a chance for the final shot for the Georgetown Hoyas.
I wouldn't be surprised when it gets down around 15 that John gets a timeout. He has got 2 timeouts and set something up offensively.
Hasn't called time yet, not going to. Williams left side. They look underneath.
3 seconds.
Double team. McDonald got it! catch it once again.
Perry McDonald, the man of the hour. Flashes in that lane. Watch this strong move to the hole.
And Jim Boeheim, who's never won here. And still hasn't. And John Thompson. Georgetown 15-3. And the players of the game for Syracuse, Sherman Douglas, Reggie Williams for Georgetown with 31 points. A check in the amount of $1,000 donated to each college's general scholarship fund to further assist qualified students in all chosen academic fields. Our final, Georgetown wins it on McDonald's 21st point in overtime. Coming up next, the AT&T Pebble Beach National Pro-Am from Pebble Beach Golf Links in Monterey, California. NCAA basketball on CBS has been a presentation of CBS Sports.